Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Alberto with the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism, here with Lee Arnoldy for another seasonal herbalist Q&A. The herb of the week this week is peppermint, one that is known and loved by so many. Finally, we're just going live on Instagram there. So hello, Instagram. I'm Alberto Carbo with the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism, here with Lee Arnoldy for another seasonal herbalist Q&A. I was just saying that we have a new herb of the week this week, which is peppermint. And it is finally, we're arriving at an herb that is known and loved by so many people, including those not who are in the herbal world or who are not herbal enthusiasts, just regular people. So many people know about peppermint tea. It's probably in most people's cabinets. It's kind of a staple all around the world, and it grows well in most people's gardens, usually can easily take over most people's gardens as well.
Yes.
So it is sometimes not loved for that reason, but other than that,
It's pretty standard for a mint. When it finds a ground it likes, you got a mint for life.
yeah, absolutely. And it's just so great because, you know, most of the herbs we talk about are either not known by most people, or if they're known, they're dubbed as weeds or invasive or unwanted. And in this case, here we have an herb from the garden, as has been the theme for the last few 3 to 4 weeks with garden plants and plants that you can grow, or at least access in the wintertime, in the time where things don't grow that dry easily. And so hence peppermint. And also one for the holidays. It's included in so many different holiday
Yeah.
baked goods, and also great for digestion after all those heavy holiday meals. So yeah, peppermint's definitely one of my favorite herbs. And of course, we're going to be featuring the seasonal herbalist flashcards from the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism and talking about them. These are free to download at the Institute. We'll show you how to do that in a little bit here. But peppermint is a phenomenal plant, also beginner friendly. So if you're out there and you're a beginner, this is a plant to get to know. And even though you might already have peppermint tea in your cupboard, there's more to it than just that. There's a lot of nuance to peppermint, and it can be quite useful in different situations. So it's definitely one to get to know further in depth, but it definitely helps to have that initial familiarity. And how
It
beautiful the
it
flowers.
is. Yeah, those wonderful it's one of those like typical mints, things that are in the mint family. They got that square stem, they've got those 90-degree angle leaves. If you look at it from the top, it makes a cross. And those beautiful little teeny like lavender flowers. A lot of mints will have a spectrum of like almost white to pink to lavender to purple. That's kind of like their realm of colors in there a bit. And peppermint is just a very standard representation of what happens in a mint. And I love peppermint. I love the mints. It just gives you permission to like start making familial connections. It's a lovely family tree that we have access to in our kitchens all the time. Oregano related. It's a mint. And there's some beautiful, oh, rosemary too. Thyme also mints. But there's also some natives that are going to be mints around you as well. Some people are finding things like horehound that are cropping up or monarda, and they all fit that same familial pattern of, little purple flowers, cross square stems. So I love this family so much, and it is a very accessible family. It's fast growing. The mints grow really fast. You'll get to know it within the year. And it's usually a joyful cedar, so it'll, reseed itself. Peppermint's a little bit of an exception. We'll talk about it on the other card, but it's actually a sterile hybrid of a couple of plants, but it's a gregarious grower.
Well, I love the way it grows as well, right? Because if you've ever grown it in your garden, or spent some time with peppermint, and mint in general, or spearmint, it, it grows up, but then the stems will shoot out little rootlets, as they're making contact with the earth, and so it so easily spreads by rooting itself further and further. And that's why you see, like, if you've ever had a peppermint plant in your garden, you'll plant it here, and all of a sudden it's like it's cropping up over here, over there, and then across the seasons too. Like the next season, you'll be like, oh yeah, my peppermint was growing here, but in the springtime, it'll start popping up all over the place, and you're like, you either love it or you're like, wait a second, I gotta plant other things here. And
it'll smell amazing when you mow.
yeah, absolutely. And to those plants that are similar that you were mentioning, it reminds me a lot of Creeping Charlie that way. Creeping Charlie spreads exactly in that way, probably even more than peppermint. But it's this creeping kind of very prolific way of rooting and then shooting up and flowering. And so if you've ever grown it, or if you're going to grow it, then I would recommend, if you want to maximize your harvest, deadhead the flowers, and you can tincture those as you're going along through the season. You can deadhead the flowers before they bloom and tincture them, or dry them if you wish. And but watch out, because as you do this will proliferate and encourage leaf growth, and of course also the spreading from side to side of the plant. And that can be really nice, because then at the end of the season you have this really big bushy plant. But yeah, you'll have to watch out for those rootlets. And the square stem, it's so interesting, right? Like I remember the first time that I experienced I remember reading about a square stem and being like, no, it's not square. Like there's no way, right? Because you don't associate that shape.
Right.
Yeah. And then you see it and you're like, wait a second, it is square. And then you touch it and it's like, oh my, it's perfectly square. It's a 90-degree angles on all sides. Like, how is that possible? Really unique.
Well, and there it is. It's like, you pick it, of course. Mints are so tactile. But yeah, that square stem, just that rolling it around, it's like dunk, 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 dunk. It feels square too. And a lot of them are very solid too. They're they don't fold or bend, I mean, it's square. Like you can definitely feel that squareness to it too. I mean, yeah, you don't always talk about feeling a square, but there it is. You do feel the angles in this plant. And that creeping nature and that spreading nature, that rootlet shoot is like so appropriate for things that are nervous system based. In peppermint, we think about, like nervous tummies and stuff like that, and upset, there's like nerves that are involved with that process. And yeah, that there's just something about it's spreading like a neural network over the ground. And that's a really good indicator. When you see things that spread like that, they're either going to probably help with your skin, because your skin has to grow over the network of, all little bits and pieces in there, or spreading like the nerves too. So it might, just watching it, observing it, might give you an indicator of how it might act in your body. So I mean, people do harsh on mints. There's people, there's people that go onto garden groups just for a little bit of excitement. And they're like, I'm just going to ask to see how I can get my mint to grow better. Just to troll the groups. But these gregarious, I mean, there's something that's very giving about a mint. I mean, it's very tenacious, but that also means it's more medicine for you. And it honestly, it seeds itself so readily. You don't have to feel terribly guilty about taking too much. Usually, I mean, there are always circumstances, but that is the nice thing. If you're trying to be ecologically minded, usually the mints are either been introduced, so it is somewhat invasive, or that it just spreads so readily that there'll be plenty for the environment to be left to reseed. So yeah, that is the nice thing about a mint. It just seems to be programmed for human consumption.
Absolutely. And, even in cold climates like here in Ottawa, Canada, it's a perennial. It'll come back every year. You plant it once, you usually don't have to plant it again. It just keeps coming back. And that is nice, because you don't have to worry about it. It'll definitely come back. It'll spread. You'll have to worry about it not spreading into places where you want to plant other things. But yeah, I love the comparison to the nervous system. And those rooting plants. It's such a great comparison. If any of you out there want to learn more about that sort of way of thinking about plants, then I highly recommend the Doctrine of Signatures. That's a course at the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism. There's free classes every couple months. Lee is the teacher, so she'll tell you all about it. But it's such a nice way to, because if you look at anatomy pictures of the body and you look at the nerves, and anyone can do this, look it up on Google, it is you just see how the nerves form this network all over the body. And yeah, it totally reminds us of this way in which the plants grow, and in the way that peppermint kind of mimics that, or maybe we mimic the plants. But in any case, also then we go back to the square and how that represents this kind of tension, right? And especially how we were saying, you don't see that in nature very often, these right angles. It's very rare that you see these right angles. And in nature, things are usually more rounded. But in the mint family here, we have these very square stems, and that's like a representation of tension, and how apropos, because as you were mentioning, the nerves and tension, nervous tummies. And if we look here on the other side of the flashcard, nervous system is on the organ affinities. The digestion and gallbladder is in the organ affinities section as well. The bladder as well. Which remind me to, like, you have the nervous tummies, but you also have the nervous bladder. Like when you get nervous and you have to, like, it increases the urgency to go more, or vice versa, where you have a full bladder and then you get nervous because you're like, where am I going to go to the bathroom, especially if you're in a place that you're unfamiliar with. So peppermint has an affinity for those connections in the body, and how apropos too that it's as you were saying, so human friendly. It just has become a part of our gardens and a part of our let's say, I guess you could call it our official plants. It's one of those where if it was back in the day, in the times of Linnaeus, they would have said official because it's in everyone's garden. It's in everyone's apothecary.
It's in our toothpaste. Like, you just think about how it's crept in. Like, here it is creeping again. But that is like the staple toothpaste flavor. Or whatever tooth product you use. It's there. It's fresh. I mean, it's kind of like why they have served like parsley with meal. Like, it freshens and brightens and cleanses, and it's definitely penetrating. So yeah, it's just become such a huge, like you said, official, like being, and it's so popular. Yeah, peppermint, it's there. And yeah, this is the season for it. With everything. Peppermint cocoa, oh my gosh. Like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, I want peppermint hot chocolate. And you've got people that are just like, absolutely not. It's kind of it's so strong, it kind of makes you do a yes or a no to it. Most people don't feel like, maybe, there might be some people out there like, I kind of like it, but it's either like you let it in your life, or you're like, I do not want anything to do with peppermint. And so it's a very, I would say, decisive herb in that sense too. It's almost like you either need it or you don't, I would guess. Like, it just might be too much for the individual. And in that case, I would suggest maybe spearmint if you needed something like it. Peppermint is a cross between spearmint, and that's why it has the mentha, and there's the X there, hybrid piperita. It's water mint and spearmint together. And spearmint is a much milder flavor. And you think about chewing gums too. More people favor spearmint. So I mean, their spearmint and peppermint's relationship is very close. It's the papa of this.
Hey, Linda. Linda's saying hi from
Hi, Linda.
Florida Panhandle. Thanks for chiming in, talking about peppermint today. And yeah, that's a great point, Lee. If we look here on the flashcard, energetics and taste section up at the top, you have the pungent taste, and I think that's the sensation that most people are familiar with. And you're right, some people find it too strong. And that's okay. But that is the taste that we associate with volatile oils a lot of the time. And it is also the taste we associate with carminatives being
Yes.
those that promote the digestive secretions that help us to either get ready or to expedite the digestive process. Hence why peppermint has been become a staple in so many holiday treats. Although I will say you have to watch out because sometimes, if you eat a candy cane, it's like peppermint flavor, you might think like, great, this is going to help me digest. But there's differences between, synthetic and artificial flavoring versus the actual real volatile oils that you get from an extract of peppermint, or using fresh peppermint, or making a tea with peppermint. So just be mindful of that. Although if it tastes like peppermint, it doesn't always have the same effect just because it tastes like peppermint.
It's
Same
like
with
Pine Sol,
yeah.
like
Mhm.
things have just come in to replace it, which is unfortunate. It's a good note to, yeah, quality. Always research the quality of your herbs
Yeah.
and
And then
candy
if we look,
canes.
yeah. Energetics and taste here again. So it's at first warming, then cooling. That's very distinctive of the mints, and also peppermint, spearmint as well. But I find it's even more
Mhm.
pronounced with peppermint. So that pungent sensation comes in, and it's warming, and then yeah, it's cooling. It's almost like the warming opens up the pores and allows for the heat to move out, or disperses the heat. So that's interesting, and it's stimulating and diffusive, so it moves things along. And if you look over to the right, you'll see under the tissue state section, constriction and depression. That's where the stimulating and diffusive energetics come in. They help to move things. They help to open up, to release constrictions, or things that are tightened up, like. And if you're out there and you're thinking constriction, like what could that possibly mean? Think of the nervous tummy. So many people are familiar with this, either because they've
Mhm.
experienced it themselves, or because somebody else they know has experienced it. And it's usually not something you experience like here and there. Certain people experience it chronically all the time. As soon as they get nervous, they have this constriction. So that's kind of a nice way to think about it. This nervous tummy, where you feel tight, you feel so nervous that almost you can't think, because you're feeling all the butterflies, all of the rumblings, all of that tightness in your tummy. And it can also it's interesting because it can create this sensation of uneasiness. You're feeling uneasy, and the nervousness moves down to the gut. And so that's a way that constriction can happen, or can be experienced. And so something you can compare it out there. So yeah, stimulating and diffusive. So energetics and taste. And that's the beauty of these flashcards. You can use the different sections to corroborate how the different corroborate the taste, the tissue states, and then the traditional uses. So you can really learn about this plant, in this case peppermint, in that holistic way that Matthew intended.
And hello, Sandra, from Washington, popping in to join us. And this interesting spectrum of first this, then that reminds me of, I'm going to say it, Jim McDonald. Jim, I cannot, this is why you have to like just herbalists, listen to them and you'll get this little nugget that sticks with you forever. But he was talking about, and specifically about like being how herbs, how they can relax and, also tighten at the same time. And it's just this whole thing where you can you have tension in your head, okay? And you're doing this, it's everything's tense, and it's stimulating things, it's getting things moving. You definitely feel blood flow, and then you feel relaxed. My hair is just like but you're like, how can it stimulate you and relax you at the same time? And it's because one leads to the other in this. And so a lot of people will, drink the tea of this, and it irritates things into moving. It gets things going, but then it's like your body relaxes because that appropriate amount of tension is now there and things are now moving along again. And I mean, I just think that's one of the best visuals is like scratch your head, stimulate that scalp, but then just and it's almost like this being appropriately online. Your body's no longer completely in like, too constricted. It's allowed itself to adjust that stricture to the appropriate level where you can be present and that everything is flowing smoothly. And when everything's in balance, then you've got, something that's kind of working on that spectrum, like first warming, then cooling, first stimulating, but then relaxing. And I'm crossing the streams a little bit here, but that's one of the amazing things about constriction is you actually kind of have to stimulate it a little bit, shake it up. You think about somebody who's just like so uptight and you just kind of want to go, you just want to shake them loose. And that's kind of the herbal version of what peppermint does. It just kind of it has enough pungency and enough power behind enough diffusiveness to scramble everything and so everything can kind of unravel a little bit. It works. It's just like the knot. It's like undoing little energetic knots. And it just it makes this is the second time I thought about it, but a lot of mints will have like these little knots of flowers growing within them. Motherwort's a perfect example, but even in this little clip art of peppermint, it kind of grows in little nodules. And so peppermint gets that. It knows how to flow and grow through these little knots of flowers. So if you're a nervy, uptight type A type A kind of person, this might be a really good herb just to like shake things up. Okay, off my soapbox.
No, it's a great way to think about it. I love the headache comparison as well, and we see this on the flashcard. We have the third point under the traditional use of herbal actions: headaches associated with digestive tension, gallbladder, and colic. I've definitely used it. I know my wife really loves it for that, for headaches. And if you're out there and you experience these types of headaches, just a little bit of peppermint oil on the temples can really help take that away, relieve it. And it's exactly what we were saying. It's that warming, as we see on the flashcard. At first you feel it and it's warming on the temples, and then it's cooling and it just diffuses and it helps that headache to melt away. Same thing on like stomach pain, nausea, vomiting. That's the second point under the traditional uses and herbal actions. Heartburn, flatulence. If you take some of the oil and if it's too warming for you, you might want to put it in a carrier oil, but you can and you can even get them purchase rollers of peppermint oil these days pretty easily. But putting some on your belly, that's a great way to help with that stomach pain after digestion, or bloating after a meal, or if there's excessive gas and things like this. So it is such an accessible remedy, peppermint, that I think that's also partly why it has become such a staple in our herbal medicine cabinets, but in our gardens, in our cuisine. It is just, like peppermint ice cream. Who doesn't love that? And if you add if you make your own, or if you even have vanilla ice cream and you add some fresh peppermint to that, like that's going to help digest. That's going to help to help assist the body in digesting those fats and those heavy to process components of the ice cream.
Yeah, I mean gallbladder's mentioned on here too, so definitely helping with that fat, bile release, all that. I'm gonna the oils on the temples is really good. I'm gonna offer caution if you have glasses, because this is how I got it too close to my eye and was uncomfortably flushing for a long time. I did do the essential oils on the temples, but it got on my glasses, and because it did that, it transferred into the corners of my eyes. So just be careful. If you do that and you happen to be a glasses wearer, if it's close or if you play with your glasses or your face a lot, just it feels amazing. I mean, okay, putting the essential oils on your temple feels amazing. Getting in your eye is not amazing.
Yeah, you'll experience that same feeling you experience on the palate, but in your eye. So
Do not
very
recommend.
interesting, but not as desirable.
No. And I've used lavender in that fashion too. Lavender and peppermint are super good. Like both of them. You can, you walk into like a health food section or whatever of a store or a co-op, and that is one of the things that they're going to like first thing they'll probably talk to you about for like headache relief is using some of those topical oils.
That's interesting. I've definitely accidentally gone peppermint in my eye as well. And that's so interesting that you bring that up, because that shows us that, and there's probably people out there who've also done the same, but that
Yup.
shows us that the energetics are, although we associate them with taste because that's where we usually ingest plants, and that's where we experience them, the energetics are acting on all the tissues, right? So when we taste the plant, and we experience those energetics, in this case, stimulating and diffusive, warming, then cooling. We're experiencing them on our palate, but that's a clue. And that's why getting familiar with the taste of the plant is so important, because it's going to show you or give you a very strong indication as to how it's going to act on the rest of the tissue. So if you're out there and you've ever gotten peppermint in your eye, then you can corroborate that, okay, yeah, it has that sensation, not just on the tissues of the mouth, but also on the tissues of the eye. And then you can understand, okay, yeah, that's how it's going to act on the rest of the body. So that's a great way to corroborate those energetics.
If it
Sandra's
tingles
saying,
there, it could tingle somewhere else.
oh,
So.
absolutely. Yeah. Sandra's saying, have you ever seen where one family member is allergic to peppermint and another allergic to spearmint? Interesting. No, I've definitely never seen that. And
No, but I would think that peppermint person might also be spearmint sensitive just because they're in the lineage with each other.
yeah, I'm not sure if
So
Sandra was here when we were talking about that, but we were saying how peppermint is a cross between watermint and spearmint. So it's if the person who's allergic to spearmint or to peppermint only is truly only allergic to peppermint and not spearmint, that would be really interesting.
and I'm curious too to know like, and this is an exploration beyond the scope of what we can do, but how the allergy is cropping up. Is it hives? Is it anaphylaxis? Is it other kinds of discomfort? Is it like the kind of like the pseudo like on your way to anaphylaxis type of thing? It's just a curiosity for just be like how that presents because I've never heard of it. And me, I'm just like, I kind of want to know more because if you're recommending this to people and you're finding that they're sensitive. So, but yeah, that's definitely a great question. We have a community on site too. And if you want to follow up with that, you can certainly head to the MWIH site and post that right within our community. And we have a bunch of herbalists, attending class there that can chime in and they might be able to be able to like, share their findings. And Sandra's saying breathing and RSH. RSH. Is that respiratory?
Rash.
Rash. Oh, God. Thanks. And rash. Okay. Wow. It's both. And then it makes me kind of wonder, yeah, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, I
And
mean, the one thing that comes to mind is, so spearmint is, and we kind of touched on this earlier, but it's a nice thing to point out that spearmint, if peppermint is too strong for you, then spearmint might be an alternative. It is also pungent. It is also stimulating and diffusive, warming than cooling, but it is not quite as intense or as strong as peppermint. So here we have a family member. One is allergic to peppermint and another to spearmint. So I almost wonder if the one allergic to spearmint can handle peppermint without issue. And but yeah, really interesting. I wonder too if, and this is one that's not, most people are not familiar with, but if maybe the culprit for the peppermint person is the watermint. If it's not the spearmint, maybe it's the watermint component of the cross there, or just peppermint in general. But that's really interesting if they can handle spearmint while peppermint is too much.
And I kind of wonder because the menthol, I think, is so strong within it. I wonder if some kind of component of menthol is also at play here, just because that is such a wildly big constituent. And it kind of makes me wonder about other menthol things and the amount and the level of that. It's very interesting. I wish we had a better answer for you, but it's certainly worth exploring. And I would, if there's other and just monitoring other mints too, because not everyone is as menthol-ish. That's the mentha in mentha piperita, is as menthol as as these couple of spearmint and peppermint. So um, that'd be where my brain goes first. And menthol does have quite an effect, like Vicks Vapor Rub. It has this affinity for opening and constricting and opening, just like the tissue states do. And I kind of wonder if that's involved there too, is the amount of constricting and releasing that it can do, because it's an antitussive as well for coughing. So it might be too much.
Yeah, so the Sandra's saying yes, the peppermint person uses for stomach issues. So they're allergic to spearmint, but peppermint is fine and they use for stomach issues. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Well, there's lots of alternative stomach issues. That's the good thing out there. There's wonderful garden herbs like chamomile and stuff too. So if this one just for whatever reason keeps um, cropping up, as an issue, and sometimes people outgrow them, but it can be a scary process when you're trying to see if you've outgrown them or not. But there are some lovely herbs and lavender too. Um,
And
Herbalicious official. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just going to read the same comment.
Oh,
Herbalicious
okay.
official through Instagram is saying, thanks for sharing. Signing in from British Columbia. Hey, Herbalicious, thanks. And their question is, what do you think about the wild mint? I love wild mint. Yeah, I've seen it in different countries, and it's probably different species in different countries that I've ran into. But what's nice about as you get to know herbs is that, and you become more familiar with with the taste of different plants, and that's why I'm always kind of emphasizing the taste and how important that is, because the more you get familiar with that, if you come across a different mint, a wild mint in your area, you can taste it and you can see what does that taste do in your mouth, in your body, right? So if you taste it and it's warming and then cooling, if it's pungent, then it's probably going to have a lot of very similar qualities to peppermint. And so if it's pungent, you're going to know it has volatile oils, so it's going to probably help with digestion and with stimulating gastric secretions. Of course, stimulating digestion is very important, as it also helps with absorption of nutrients and assimilation of nutrients. So getting familiar with the tastes and how the tastes inform us of the energetics and therefore how those energetics can be applied to the body is really important. And yeah, so I would say as long as you're sure that you're IDing a wild mint and that it's a safe plant to consume, then taste it and see what you can pick up on. But yeah, there's different plants, different mints I've come across in different places, and they're all similar in that way. They all have that pungent, diffusing quality to them. They're all slightly warming, then cooling. And so that's a really nice trait across the family.
I would say, so Linda, the one that we have growing around here that I found as a wild mint is Arvensis. It is I had to look it up. Mentha arvensis. And the thing about these mints is they crossbreed readily. So it might be like, oh, is it truly this? And as far as what grows around it, where I've found it is in a very stagnant backwater area of the Mississippi. What else is growing around there is um, lycopus or bugleweed, and that has a very distinctive, different leaf. But there's a lot of mint family members that are very pungent that gravitate towards that area because that environment actually requires kind of like an herb that can stand up to that stagnation. That can, you think about that, how that tissue state acts in your body where there's very little movement, and they're able to survive that. They just have enough heat and volatile oils. So I would say that might be The one you'd mix it up with, Monarda also grows around there, but that's a little more distinctive. Ground ivy, another mint, pretty distinctive, but my concern would be more about the hybridization because it looks, oh, another thing that naturalizes is catnip, which is more similar looking to peppermint. So that would be another one, but the leaf is a little bit different with that one. So yeah, those would be I see that you're asking about another mint that could be growing along there. And I've had the same concerns because when I first found this plant too, I was like, but I definitely knew it was a mint. So, and it's strong. I would definitely consider it probably like a water mint, like Alberto was saying.
Yeah, and Linda's saying here in Florida, I have to plant in a cool spot with filtered sun and lots of water. Otherwise, it disappears. Yeah, that makes sense. It's pretty hot down there, pretty humid too.
It does. It gets crispy really readily. It's like the leaves get really burned rather easily. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm even in the garden too. Too much sun. It's like, no, please. I mean, it's like weird. Like you're such a tough herb, but oh no, crispy sun. Like, okay, that's your kryptonite. All right, got it.
Yeah, it's almost like the water moves out of it really quick because it also dries really easily.
Yes.
Like if you
Yes.
clip it and then you hang it upside down almost within a day, if you clip it on a dry day, almost within a day, it's dry and ready to put in a jar. And if you leave it too long, it's like almost it crumbles to dust so easily.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, yeah,
It blackens really. Yeah.
yeah, it moves its water out really quick. Well, we should probably show people
Yeah.
where they can download their flashcards. So if you go to the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism.com, you land on the homepage right here. And you'll notice that you can still get 50% off any classes, any course, any subscription, and the year one program as well. And this holiday discount is available until January 11th. So make sure that you take advantage of it. If you think that maybe something you want to do before the 11th, before the discount runs out. Of course, if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on discounts like these or upcoming classes and courses, which we do have some coming up as well, make sure you enter your name and email and click subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll receive personalized messages in your inbox so you don't miss out. On that note, if you go down below, you'll see there's a clinical series coming up. This is going to have one live class per month, tongue evaluation, facial assessment, patterns of dysfunction, and case studies. And of course, you'll know that the faculty teachers who will be heading up this course are bringing tried and true and tested methods of assessment that are not just theory, but have been honed over years and decades of practice. So definitely a great way to sharpen your clinical skills. And if you click on the notify me, you'll see there's a list of upcoming classes and courses. And you can click one or multiples of these and then enter your email address and notify me. But we've got scholarships. These are also available now. This is for the year one program, 100% scholarship for the year one program. And this is available. The application is open until January 11th, and the winners will be announced on January 20th. So make sure you fill out the application before the 11th. Then you have apothecary, build your own herbal medicine cabinet, advanced immune system, medicinal mushrooms, how to set goals and keep goals realistically, focus astrology, clinical evaluation series as mentioned, and seasonal herbalist. Lots of great stuff coming up. And just to recap here, you have the two different subscriptions. They're regularly the price that's crossed off below, but the discount price is up top. And if you decide or are curious about any of them, you'll see the full price, but you'll see the discount applied at checkout down below. So just make sure, I just wanted to make sure that you knew that the discount is applied at checkout for all the subscriptions, as well as for the year one program. And the year one program you can reach through clicking here and then going to the year one program here. And to download your flashcards, all you have to do is go to Learn, down to Free Herbalism Classes. You'll land right here. Click on the Winter Seasonal Herbalist Cards, And you'll land right here. The herbs for this season are holly, juniper, cedar, which we covered last week. Peppermint is this week. And next week, we'll be covering white pine. Make sure you download your set of flashcards before the end of next week. Cedar is a year 3 plant, so you'll only be able to get it through the year 3 program or through this winter seasonal herbalist flashcard set. So make sure you download them before then. All you have to do is enter your name and email, click on send me the cards, and you'll receive a confirmation email once you click on that confirm link. Then in a few minutes, you'll receive a second email with the download file, and you can save that to your computer, download them or print them if you wish. And yeah, make sure you join us for future seasonal herbalists every Tuesday at 11:30 Central. And you can catch recordings at the Learn Herbal Wisdom Facebook group or in the MWH YouTube channel. And if you're looking for free classes, there's a whole lot down below. Year 1 sampler, you have 4 different classes there. Then you have animal medicines, a free intro class to the whole course, 2 intro classes to 2 different types of assessment courses, holistic herbal assessment skills. Matthew and Phyllis take clients in this course. So if you're thinking of the clinical assessment course, perhaps this is a way to gear up towards that, as well as pulse and facial assessment, 2 different intro classes to the health astrology and Hellenistic period astrology as well. And you have a few different classes, 4 classes, I believe now, in the Real Spirit Journey Beyond, which you can enroll there. And of course, if you have any questions, let us know at hello@whatherbs.com. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
There's one last minute question we can really quickly answer from Levia. She's asking, is catnip good for humans? Yep. Cats and people. Yep. Relaxing again.
Yep. And definitely a mint cousin. Love catnip.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, thanks, everyone. It looks like I was just making sure we don't have any other comments there. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Lovely to hear from you. And we'll see you again next Tuesday. Take care.
Bye.